I hitting a rock?
Okay.
Is that the right slide?
Yeah. So I wanted to point out my team real quick. This is Nate Irwin. He's the lead web map developer for the National Park Service, web mapping coordinator. Mamatha Kella, she's a cartographer, very gifted cartographer that we're lucky to have. She's produced a product called the Park Tiles that I'm going to show you briefly in this presentation. And then Jimmy McAndrew and Katrina Ingolstead, they're both developers for internal applications that we work on here. Just to let you know, everything that we do is on GitHub. We're github.com/National Park Service. Those are our handles right there. I'm the one at the end, and that is my son Sam. But I told him he would make our presentation, so it was like me. Anyway, yeah, so you can find us all on GitHub. You can also find a lot of our data on GitHub too, so we love GitHub. So basically, I'll tell you what we do kind of quickly. We help protect over 400 areas of the country's cultural and natural resources. And some of those places are the most iconic places in the country, like Canyonlands and Yellowstone, and the Lincoln Memorial, and Cape Hatteras National Seashore right here in North Carolina. And what we try and do is help others make maps. We try not to make maps for folks, but most of the time it ends up working that way where we end up making the map for folks. But our job is to allow Park Service employees to simplify the process of making a web map, make it accessible, easy to use, and to put on a public-facing NPS.gov page. NPS.gov is the most visited website in the federal government, and it's web maps are really taking off there. So, yeah, that's what we try and do. Our focus is, raising the bar of digital mapping in the Park Service so it meets our organization's graphic identity, accessibility, and usability standards. Park Service has that same graphic identity standard. Modernizing the Park Service's strong mapping tradition so it works for today's digital products. If you've been to a national park and you've passed an entrance station, you've been given a Unigrid traditional brochure map that's made at Harper's Ferry Center. What we like to do is try and make that come alive, become dynamic, and get it out of a hard copy map and onto the web. Making mapping more accessible to everyone, both within and outside the NPS. That is a major goal of ours. And we work hand in hand with Harper's Ferry Center. Like I just said, Harper's Ferry Center are the ones that make the brochure maps. Web Services Division, they're the ones that are responsible for the content that goes up on NPS.gov, and the Office of Communication to make mapping an integral part of our digital strategy. So Office of Communications, they basically tell us the maps to make. Web Services Division tells us how we can make them, what's allowed and what's not allowed, and Harper's Ferry Center can sometimes help us with that as well. Here's just some examples of our work, real quick. This is the Battle of Beaver Dam Creek. It's time lapse. It lives on a public-facing NPS.gov page. This was the Civil War, Battle of Richmond, and I don't really have the ability to control the keys, but you can see the units and the brigades, all that stuff. You can watch them through time, but that particular battle is pretty cool. But I can't put it in motion right now. But, and this is something that's broken. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I mentioned Mamatha Kella, the cartographer. This is something called Park Tiles. We've been working to build our own base map for 2 to 3 years now. Mamatha is very gifted. She's helped us put all this stuff together. And this is made out of Mapbox. We use TileMill and Mapbox hosting for the tiles. And it's almost a complete product. The only problem is we need a lot of data. So, it looks good from here. Once you drill down into the individual park, you'll notice the Park Service has 85 million acres of land to manage, and 20,000 employees, and probably less than 20% of those actually work on data. So we need a lot of help creating data for the Park Service. But yeah, so this is Park Tiles, and it's freely available to anybody to use as a base map. You can pull it into ArcGIS or anything like that. So. But what I wanted to talk to you today, since we're talking about real-time mapping, is our Blue Ridge Parkway project. I have a few interesting facts about the Blue Ridge Parkway if you haven't been on it before. Something that's not really widely known is the Blue Ridge Parkway is the most visited park in the National Park System, with more than 13 million visitors in 2014 alone. A lot of folks didn't know that. They figured something like Yellowstone or Yosemite, the Smokies, would be the most visited park, but it's actually the Blue Ridge Parkway. So, Blue Ridge Parkway serves as a gateway, basically, for the Great Smoky Mountains and Shenandoah National Park. And it's 469 miles long, and another interesting fact, in 1794 it was surveyed by Thomas Jefferson's father, and I can't remember his name, but there's some cool things about the Blue Ridge. Also, what happens with Blue Ridge Parkway is hazardous road conditions due to weather and other circumstances can cause certain road segments to close quickly. It happens a lot, and the Park Service must notify the public as soon as possible of any parkway closures. So this is a landslide. Most of it's weather, snow and ice, things like that. There's a lot of the Blue Ridge right now that's closed, of course. It's closed throughout the winter. So. But it's our job to make sure that the public's informed quickly as to what's open and what's closed on the parkway. So basically, Blue Ridge staff came to us looking for help. They wanted to have an easy product where law enforcement, park rangers, basically non-GIS users, non-data users can go in and update the map real time and have that information displayed quickly. So we worked and we tried to create a cartographically pleasing and real-time map showing all the road closures. And the technology we use, well, I don't know why this is up here yet, my slides are just working on this, but this is the actual map here. If I could interact with it, I'd show you, but you'd see closed, advisory, and open right now, and this is real time. So this has probably been updated by this morning. If you click on one of these tabs, it will zoom to the road segment, and it'll tell you exactly what's open, what's closed, and why it is that way. But to get into how the map is made, we use CartoDB. We love CartoDB a lot. We use them for a lot of our maps, and we figured that this would be the easiest way for us to make this map. This is the data view for the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's very simple. We uploaded a simple shapefile with overlook, control, and a note. So the overlook contains the mile segment, or the name of the road segment right there. Control tells you whether it's closed, advisory, or open, and then the note tells you why. So basically 3 fields of importance. This is the Carto CSS that we use to style our open and advisory and closed symbols. Carto CSS, I really like working in it. It's very flexible. Open is green, advisory is yellow, and closed is red. But so it allows you to do all that, to style your data. We use, not to get too technical because I'm not the developer here, we use the JavaScript, we use AJAX requests and the CartoDB API to pull in the data in real time. One thing that we definitely enjoy about CartoDB is their documentation. It's really helpful and it's up to date, and we rely on it a lot, and we find it very easy to use because it's great documentation for us. So that's how we pull it in. So the basic workflow is Blue Ridge Park Service staff get notification of a hazardous road segment that needs to be closed. So law enforcement or park ranger will call and say, "There's snow and ice on the road. We need to close this segment." The Blue Ridge staff log into a Cardo DB account because of our license agreement with Cardo DB. Any park can have their own account, and then the staff simply go in and update the control field to close. They change it from open to closed. And then they might tell you why in the note field. That's it. And then instantly the map's updated on the public-facing website. So you can find this map on mps.gov/BLRI, which is the unit code for Blue Ridge Parkway. And they love using it. They use it all the time. It's probably been updated just a few minutes ago. And other parks are wanting to use it too now, just because it's really simple to do. So, yeah, and for some reason I have it up here again. This is what you would see if you went up there. And you can click on these tabs here and it would zoom to this particular road segment. So, yeah, and this is how the public gets their information. So, yeah. Any questions or anything about how this was done? Question?
Yeah, I have a question. So I know that the information gets posted to wherever you post it on your website. Do you have any relationship with, or are you thinking about trying to get this onto, I don't know, there's a lot of routing apps and things, I would like Waze or Google Maps and that kind of stuff that people are using, they might have it in their car using it to navigate. Is there any way to communicate with that so that they know as soon as it happens where they should figure out?
I'm sure there is. I couldn't tell you how, but no, that's not in the works for us. This was basically a one and done with Blue Ridge. If it's something that they would like in the future, then we would probably take that on. But
What was the website again?
mps.gov/BLRI.
BLR.
Yeah, so that's the unit code for Blue Ridge Parkway, and then you'll see up there the road closings. This map will pop up. BLRI. I'm sorry, what was that? Oh, after the road gets cleared, who updates it? Anybody that has access to the Cardo DB account. Once they get notified that the road's open again, they just log in and change the control field to open from closed. Question.
So a lot of people from Blowing Rock and Asheville go to the Parkway.
Right.
So Asheville's got City View. Have you had communication with them about letting them know, hey, just continue to check, or is it just kind of a given that if it's snowing in Asheville, you don't go on the Parkway?
I don't know. I don't really know their standards for opening and closing things. That's their call. All I can do is just show them Cardo DB, basically.
Is the service that points to the data, is that open to the public?
I think it is actually. Yeah. I think you can put it in. Right. That's a developer question. I'm not 100% positive on that. I'm the data guy, but I can just tell you what's used.